As I reflect back now and think about my many years of intelligence service and the things that I had done, the missions that I had been given, and in later years working for the OSGs, I can see a very common thread, and it's a thread, and I'm not easily threatened, but it's a thread tied to a particular word, and that particular word has cropped up more and more in the most recent past by politicians. There was a politician, a senator, that was interviewing the new director of the CIA, George Tenet, and she asked him a specific question, and that was just early this year. She asked Mr. Tenet, "Are you prepared to usher in the new millennium, and are you prepared to build your Central Intelligence Agency to see to the New World Order?" That was a damning statement, because I'd heard that statement in other instances. I heard that statement from statements and words pertaining to the New World Order from my handlers, from George Bush, from Bill Colby, and from Mr. Casey.
George Bush was one of the highest up that I'm aware of, if not the highest up that I was ever exposed to during the course of my White House Pentagon level mind control victimization. George Bush began with the United Nations. He went on to head our CIA. And then by everything that I witnessed and experienced, it was George Bush who was in control of our country through 3 administrations, because Ronald Reagan answers to George Bush. Then George Bush was in office himself. And after that, Bill Clinton went into office. And I heard Bill Clinton and George Bush once discussing how when the American populace became disillusioned with Republicans in control of our country, bringing us into the New World Order, that Bill Clinton, as a Democrat, would be put into office. And it was also my experience to have witnessed Bill Clinton answering to George Bush. So we certainly aren't blaming everything on George Bush. There's a lot of other players that are named in our book, Transformation of America. But it's very important that people understand who's at the top of this effort so that they know exactly what the problem really is.
I can see that everything we were doing from 1986 in the OSGs until I left in 1982, 1992, were designed to align countries into a one-world government. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what we were doing. There's no doubt in my mind that that timetable by the end of 2000 will be accomplished. As a matter of fact, having seen certain time schedules for things to happen, not understanding what it was designed for, I can say that they're ahead of schedule right now. It's our job to deter that, to slow that down, and perhaps by slowing that down, by slowing it down at the very top levels of these group of elite, perhaps we can give us common people the opportunity to come together and decide that there's something better than what they have planned for us in the New World Order.
Pyramids. At the peak of the pyramid, you've got a tiny, tiny few people who know everything there is to know about that organization. They know its real agenda, its real motivation, where it's really seeking to go. The further you come down from that pyramid peak in any organization, you're meeting more and more and more people who know less and less and less about what that organization's agenda really is. They only know their part in it. They call it compartmentalization. I always also call it the mushroom approach. Keep them in the dark and feed them bullshit. Through this pyramid system, well into the 90% of people who are daily in their jobs in this city and other cities around the world, who are daily pushing this world towards more and more centralization of power on a global level, either don't realize they're doing it because they don't see the big pattern, or they don't realize the implications of what they're doing. And all these aspects of life, the banking system is a pyramid, so is the media, so is the secret society network of the world, so is the multinational corporation network. And at the peak of their pyramids, they fuse into one global pyramid peak. where a tiny few people, maybe no more than 13 families, pervade down the pyramid, an all-encompassing policy which pushes us daily towards more and more centralization of power. But you know, if you look at the pyramid, where is the power in the pyramid? We've been conned and conditioned and programmed to believe that it's up there. It is not. That's up there because the rest of the pyramid, us, are holding it up there, and that's the only reason it exists. And that leads me to something else as I start to draw to a close here. And that is, it's okay standing at microphones like this and meetings like this and saying it's them, it's them, it's them. No! It's only possible, this manipulation, because human race of the world, it is us that allow it to happen.
I think to perform effectively as a new world order, you have to have a commonality of countries. You can't have the separation of countries, the distinct separation that we have now. You know, you look at Ireland, who is a fairly poor country. They don't have all of the conveniences that we do in America today. So I think conveniences will be lost in some countries, and conveniences will be gained in others. The two-car system in America, the heavy use of fuel in the United States, I don't think that we'll be successful in a one-world government with obtaining the fuels to sustain that. I think that there's going to have to be a change, and I think that the government is seeing to that change on a very, very slow but very, very precise schedule. I think that the way that they will do this is they will slowly, and very slowly, but very precisely, enact little pieces of legislation, sometimes on an international basis under environmental laws, sometimes under state legislation, sometimes under federal legislation. But I think you'll see these little tags that are put on legislation will affect us for the rest of our lives. Well, in working for the people I work for, I only see two classes. I see the leaders who are the elite, and I say the leaders who are the elite because of the people that we work for. We work for the Rothschilds, the Roosevelts, the superpowers in money around the world. There was never any question of finances on anything that we did. If I needed $250,000 for a mission, I had a signature line of credit. I walked into a bank in New York, I signed my signature, pulled out $250,000 cash, walked away, and that money was replaced the following week. It was that easy for me. So in answer, I hope that I've answered that in saying there's two groups. There's the citizens and there's the elite, and that's all there are. Those around the world that think that there's going to be an upper class or that there's going to be comfort like there was, there won't be. Myself, I see even maybe a third class, but that third class won't be considered citizenry on the New World Order. It'll be considered enemies of the New World Order who are possibly living in state of an underground. I think in summing up what I'd like to say to all of you who listen to this video and in the media, I'd like to ask one question. Is anybody there?